Hey everybody. As I'm recording this, I just got back from CES late last night. That's the Consumer Electronics Show where I was covering the enterprise AI announcements. And one of the big ones, the keynote ones, was industrial AI. And not like, oh, AI is becoming like industrial scale, it's the next industrial revolution, metaphorical way, but in a literal way. We had Siemens, we had PepsiCo, we had several other companies up there giving keynotes and then talking to journalists afterwards about how they're starting to use AI to transform the entire industrial process. So factories and supply chains are heavily digitized these days and are heavily automated. That means that there's a lot of data coming in. There's data coming in from sensors. There's data coming back from all the machines doing stuff. There's data coming in from all the supply chain, the suppliers, and from the other business partners. There's data coming in from the environmental systems, from heating and cooling, from the power systems, from how the machines operate. Are they breaking down? Are they operating efficiency? All of those things, massive amounts of data coming in. Then there's cameras scanning every item to look for defects, all that stuff. Massive amounts of data that you can use to train an AI. So instead of speaking a language or being trained on software code and understanding software, or being trained on images and understanding images, these AIs are trained on entire industrial processes. And so Siemens is doing this, other companies are doing this, and it is very cool. So basically, the entire factory becomes one giant robot. So, and of course, we do still have robots. And the industry is much further along on this than consumers are. Because in a consumer space, robots are not particularly useful. They are incredibly overpriced. They are incredibly unreliable still. The thing about a factory robot is it does one of very limited amount of things. And then if you add AI on top of it, the AI is usually used to help it retrain to do something new, right? That's usually the use case because once you have it set up on an assembly line, it just does the same thing. Or once you have driving stuff around, it does pretty much the same thing. The AI part only kicks in when something new happens, when it needs to be retrained on something, or when an unexpected event happens, and that's when it stops doing its automatic repetitive motion and switches to, all right, how do I respond to this new thing mode, which is where the generative AI kicks in. So for companies, the generative AI is used very little and in very limited ways. And most of the time, it's just automation, where it does the same exact thing a million times a day. Generative AI is really bad at doing the same thing a million times a day. It's good at doing like one new thing, right? But in the home, it's always new. You're always doing something different. You're always washing a different set of laundry, right? Even if it's the same exact clothes as they were yesterday or the week before, they're arranged in different ways. They might have a rip in them, or they will have different stains on them. They're different. They're piled in different places. So it like everything is different. If you wash dishes, the dishes are different every time. If you're vacuuming, the furniture is in different places all the time. Everything keeps changing in a house, and then there's humans going around in there and doing different things all the time. So for a robot in a house, you wind up having automation in very limited areas, like a robot vacuum. A dishwasher is automated because it does the same thing all the time. A washing machine is automated because it does the same thing every time. It's very easy thing to do. And in a factory, it's like that, but on a massive scale, where there's things that happen many, many, many times. And so it's worth it to automate it. It makes sense to automate it. And once you add in the generative AI portion on top of it, now you can retrain it better. So you make the factory more flexible and adaptable. You can predict problems before they happen and and prevent them or mitigate them somehow. You can rearrange things on the fly if parts aren't available or power outage or something else like that. You can you know plan around it very, very quickly. And this is something that is going to benefit manufacturers quite a bit, which in the end will result in us getting lower cost products, higher quality products, a wider variety of products. Um, and because we already have too much stuff, maybe like more expensive products that bring more value to us. And and so there's still places in the world that are industrializing, although most countries have already gone through this process and now they're stuck with too much stuff as opposed to not enough stuff. Um, so the whole manufacturing sector is going to have to undergo something similar to what the food sector is going through now with GLP-1s. You want to make the food in smaller portions and tastier because people are eating less, and they're looking for higher quality. So we're going to be buying less and higher quality. Oh, another benefit to this industrial AI is that the AI is going to optimize for what we want to optimize it for. So, for example, you want to have lower power consumption because power costs money. You want to have use fewer raw materials because raw materials cost money. You want to speed up the production cycle. You want to reduce travel times and transportation costs and all these things. And a lot of those things are good for the environment. So I think AI is going to be a net benefit for everybody as we as a society are spending less of our money on junk food and less of our money on junk goods. The manufacturers of both of those types of products can upgrade, make better, more nutritious food, uh, better, higher quality products at a both at a lower cost, or maybe at a higher cost if they have a lot of like brand value associated with it. Um, but we're going to have less of the manufacturing overall because we're kind of hitting population declines um, in like Europe and Asia and United States. And as other countries industrialize, they're also hitting that same cutoff in population growth, which is really, really good for the planet. So I am not upset about this. As a society, we're going to have more resources to put towards other things. But the whole idea of the industrial AI can be applied to all of our infrastructure, our power grids, our telecommunications infrastructure, um, the entire logistics and supply chain areas, medicine. Oh, yeah. So that's one of the other places where they're starting to apply industrial AI concepts, which is, I don't know, it seemed a little bit of stretch to me when I first heard this. So Siemens talked about this. And Siemens is one of the big industrial automation players on the planet. They're like over 170 years old. And uh, and now they're on the cutting edge of this. So yeah, old dogs can learn new tricks. So there's hope for all of us. So anyway, so they're saying that, yeah, like you can automate a factory, but a human cell is also kind of like a factory. And so they have digital twins of actual, manufacturing factories. And what a digital twin does is it's a virtual version, like a video game version of the whole factory, where it's accurate to the level of like physics. So if a robot moves too quickly, it starts to swing out of alignment, for example. Or if it picks up something too heavy, things break. So that level of physics accuracy is like super important in a factory. And they're doing this now with AI powered digital twins. So very, very cool, very, very high level simulations, very accurate to reality. So they're saying that they can simulate human cells at a similar level of accuracy using basic physics, basic chemistry, basic biology, and like having that in the simulation so we can actually see the drug working or not working, see how proteins interact with one another, see how like blood moves around or whatever like blood does in your body. And actually model this at a cellular level or an organ level or like an entire body. Huge for drug development, huge for testing. You can test a lot of stuff in simulation, and if it passes those tests, then test it on humans. So you're not wasting as much time in human trials of things that aren't going to work. Uh, so absolutely like huge stuff happening. Very exciting to see it at CES, which is normally a consumer electronics show. And here we had like all this, corporate and enterprise and industrial stuff happening. Um, kind of, I think it shows the seriousness of AI. um, how much money people are putting into it, how much effort they're putting into it, how transformative it's going to be for how many industries. So, very exciting time to be a journalist covering it. And for us as humans who want to have things that are nicer and cheaper and maybe a cure for cancer, little things like that. This is all really, really good. And again, as I keep saying on these videos, I am not worried about job losses. I have covered a lot of technological transformations and economic transformations. I was in China during the 5 years of the fastest growth. I ran a business news bureau there. Uh, I covered the outsourcing boom. I covered like the cloud and internet and all these things. As we get more productive, we do not lose jobs. 95% of us used to work in agriculture. Now only 5% of us do. The other 95% of us still have jobs. Our unemployment rate is lower than 5%. That is functional unemployment, even after years and years and years of improved productivity. We create new jobs, many of them stupid, dumb jobs. Why is professional sports a thing? I keep bringing that up. But we create these new jobs, and people who have jobs can get more done in the jobs that they have, which means that we can tackle bigger challenges. We can go after cancer. We can go after cleaning up the environment. We can go up to Mars or build space habitats. We will be able to do more stuff because we're more productive. We'll be able to do better stuff. We'll be able to do stuff less expensively, and we will have jobs. We'll just have different jobs. It's going to be a painful transition for some people. It's going to be very exciting for others because they're going to see the opportunity and they're going to go, oh my God, I'm going to start Uber. I'm going to be a Twitch streamer. I'm going to be a YouTube influencer. Like, who would have thought that was going to be a job? And those people are paid really, really well. Bloggers and podcasters and so many new jobs come along because of technology that are not even related to that technology. Professional sports has nothing to do with being more effective in agriculture. But being more efficient at agriculture has allowed us to have professional sports, has allowed us to have pretty much universal primary school education around the planet, has allowed us to have medicine and hospitals and universities and airplanes and all these things. We've been able to do that because of increased productivity, because of improvements in agriculture, because of improvements in manufacturing. And the number of jobs has not gone down. And it's not going to go down because we want more stuff. We keep wanting more stuff. And when a robot can do a lot of that stuff, we will want different stuff that a robot can't do. I want somebody to come to my house and hold my hand while I clean up my closet. I will pay more for a hand knitted sweater than one made in a factory because I like the fact that it's hand knitted. I will pay more for human art on my wall than I will pay for a print from the dollar store. Even though the print from the dollar store is a Picasso. I mean, no human artist working today is going to be as good as Picasso or whatever, right? Especially not like the small town where I live. But I'd rather have a painting by somebody from my small town who's maybe not at the level of Picasso because it's an original and it's human stuff and it's human. And there's lots of other areas in which we might want something that has a human component because it has an emotional component, has social value, it has relationship value, it has memories associated with it, or a brand that we love associated with it, or because it's the same sweater that Taylor Swift wore in the music video, or whatever it is that has emotional value to us that's associated with human production or human services or human opinion or human validation, um, that's going to be valuable. And we will pay for that. We will pay extra for that. We can have a microwave meal at home that tastes exactly the same as the same meal from a restaurant because they've also microwaved it for us. They just put it on a nicer plate. We will pay like 10 times as much to go to a restaurant and get that same exact meal because we like having humans take care of us. So I do not think that all this investment in industrial development and productivity is going to hurt the total number of jobs that we as humans have available to us. Our jobs will change. Our jobs will get much more impactful. We'll be able to do a lot more. So today, a person working alone can, build a piece of furniture. Tomorrow, they might be able to build a whole house. Next year, they might be able to build a whole space habitat. That's the difference. That's what like having power in your hands does for you. Having the right tools does for you. So yeah, I'm very optimistic about it. And I saw a lot of that talked about at CES this year. So definitely worth going. I'm very happy I went. And um, I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.